Greetings, everyone. I'm Jeremiah Nichols. I'm a third year African American Studies scholar with a minor in African psychology. And with me today is.
Hello, I am Deja Thazan, a third year criminal justice scholar with a minor in sociology, and I'm here also with.
Yes, my name is Isai Kamal Salam, aka Brother Kamal, and I am majoring in agribusiness. I'm from Tallahassee, Florida, and it's a pleasure to be here.
And welcome to Ubuntu Speaks, everyone.
Yes.
So, Kamal, what's our first topic for today?
Our topic is love. Yes. So
Say more, brother. Say more.
our topic is love because we do want to tie in the theme with Valentine's Day and relationships, but we don't want it to necessarily be commercialized. We want it to be something that we value in the community, um, not only the community, but within ourselves. So it's very important that we practice not only love with others, but self love as well. So
Right, right. And love doesn't only have to be contained to Valentine's, you know what I'm saying? Love is a practice that you're supposed to, love is an action you're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, throughout your entire life, throughout your entire development. So in this podcast, we're basically going to talk about different dimensions of love. Do anybody want to start us off?
Hmm, I think the first and most important would be self love.
Right,
I
right.
think is very lacking. And what we do is very apparent in how we behave, how we speak to others, how we speak towards and about ourselves,
Hmm.
first and foremost. I think people also need to take the time towards self love in activities like self care,
Right.
as in like hygiene. Everybody wants to feel good. Take the time out of your day to focus on yourself, not just your appearance, because that can also be like what people go towards for self hatred, but really just inward yourself and focus inward, and it'll show outward. You glow different when you you love yourself. You feel that love within yourself. It's just a different glow.
It is, you know what I'm saying? One of the famous sayings is that hurt people hurt other people.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
absolutely,
And so it's like, but people who are filled with self love, people who know themselves, right? They're able to spread that to others. You know what I'm saying? Love is contagious. It's an energy,
absolutely,
you know. And I know, you know what I'm saying, again, from a psychological perspective, people who know their worth, people who love themselves, they generally they generally don't for example, they're usually not violent, you know what I'm saying, don't hit other people, especially like men within relationships, you know what I'm saying? When they're secure about themselves, when they love themselves, you're not gonna see them beating on their wives. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Or just people in general. Like people who we see it all the time. Now, of course, I'll hate to use a stereotypical example, but when people try to change their physical appearance, you know what I'm saying, when they really don't need to,
hmm
you know,
hmm
you know what I'm saying, that's out of self hatred. That's out of insecurity. So, and I know one of the methods that I use, you know what I'm saying, to promote self love is self affirmations. And I'm talking about like looking in the mirror and saying, or telling yourself, "Oh, you look good." You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people confuse self affirmations with lying to yourself, right? And that does more damage than good. But when I'm talking about self affirmations, it's really like looking into the mirror, you know what I'm saying, being honest with yourself, you know what I'm saying, and trying to build yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to accomplish things like Jeremiah, you know what I'm saying? I need you to do this today. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? And then once you do it, reward yourself too. Like, yeah, you did that. You're cool. You're great. You're intelligent. You're smart. Right? And, it's like a feedback mechanism. You know what I'm saying? With
absolutely.
yourself.
And we gotta make sure that when you're doing these self affirmations, it's not for ego purposes, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's for, just self love and healing and whatnot. I would like to open the floor, ask you guys a question. What do we think love is? Because love is, one of these forces in the universe where
Mm-hmm.
it's like we don't really, understand or have a clear set definition of, what I'm saying, what love is, but I think that we can at least, say what we think it is.
Mm.
And I could start, I think love is whew, it's caring for others and firstly caring for yourself. Because if you don't know how to care for yourself, you don't really necessarily how to know to care for others. And just from personal experience, the love for my mother and my father and my community, it's important that that love has been shown to me, because if you've never been shown love, you don't necessarily know how to show love.
Right.
So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm not gonna count. That's a tough question.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because how can you describe something that you really can't see or or touch, but you just feel.
Mhm.
So love is really just like an immense feeling. Saying that one you could generate, but also that you can receive. It's really like an energy.
Mhm.
You know. Um, so I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's something that starts internally though. I
Mhm.
will say that.
Mhm.
I think love is just such an abstract, like it's because it's it's like an emotion. You feel it, you know when you love somebody, you feel love towards or from something. But love can't be felt. Like you can't reach out and touch love, but you can touch expressions of love. Like say if
Right.
somebody bought you roses out of love, like hey, I love you, here's some roses. You can touch those roses and feel appreciation for the roses. Or like say, because I'm with two men here, so maybe roses is not the the right thing. But say a gesture, like
Mhm.
say so like say Issa, somebody said, "Oh, your gas is low.
Mhm.
Let me fill your tank up for you," and just does it.
Acts of service.
Acts
Yeah.
of service, love language. There's a
Right.
Absolutely.
there's a language with love. There's
Mhm.
the gestures. There's or you look at somebody and just because you love them and just because they exist, you feel the love. Your heart feels a little warm.
Right.
You feel warmth in your heart even when like you can look at them sleep, you can look at them eat, you can look at them even if they're like over here in a bonnet scratching their butt, and it's
Mm.
like I love this person,
Right.
and you
Absolutely.
feel it. It's that
Mhm.
warmth in your chest. It's just it's such an abstract. I don't even think it's meant to really be defined, but to
Mm.
be felt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think also part of loving is appreciating. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Appreciating and valuing that person for who they are truly.
Mhm.
That's not just romantic relationships. That's in friend relationships as well.
Mhm.
'Cause, we got a lot of friends who may do things that we don't necessarily like, or or think in that same way. But however, we look at them and say, look, I still appreciate you, and I still value you, and I still care for you. You know what I'm saying? Even with everything you got going on.
Mhm.
So like you said, love is meant to be felt. It's meant to be felt.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I like to bring up a point. Through love, communication is just so important.
Hmm.
Mine, like, I don't know. I know recording is half like not really relationship, but it failed because lack of communication. And Deja brought up a very good point. There are, what I'm saying, love languages,
Hmm.
physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, gift giving, and acts of service. So I was just wondering, do you guys identify with any of these?
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
And I think everybody probably has like something they identify with. You just
Mhm.
have to self reflect and you have to experience things as well. But for me personally though, I definitely love physical touch. You know what I'm saying? Whether just like holding hands, or
Mhm.
rubbing hands, and like with my girlfriend, I always rub her feet. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, or like scratch her head, stuff like that. So definitely physical touch and quality time.
Mhm.
Quality time. So even with my friends, they can see that. I like spending time with with my loved ones, and doing things that we both really care about. You know what I'm saying? Like and create memories that we'll both remember. So definitely those two. And words of affirmation comes like a close third. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I need that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because we all have our self doubts. But for somebody to reaffirm you, say, yeah, you did great that day. To myself, I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But somebody
sir.
to reaffirm, like, yeah, you look handsome today. So I did like that today. Or you know what I'm saying? Or you're actually really smart. It does feel good. What about y'all though?
I think I think everybody has like a different mixture of like all five or like prefers some over the other, but definitely all five. Like I've taken the love language test so many times, but most of the time I've taken it, I've had a similar like ranking to you, as in physical touch was always first. Sometimes quality time will come after words of affirmation, but most of the time quality time will become a second, words of affirmation a third, The next will be acts of service, and the fifth is gift giving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like this. I just love touching. I love hugs. I love cuddles. I love touching. Like a lot of people, like I didn't get to college until I realized like not a lot of people kiss their family members. Like I'll kiss my little cousins on the head. I'll kiss my mom on the cheek, my auntie on the cheek. When my little brother was like smaller than me, because now he's large, I used to kiss him on the cheek all the time. He was an adorable little jit. And also like quality time. You can't really have physical touch without quality time, because how can you touch somebody if you're not with them? I
Mm-hmm.
feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a logical thing. But also it's like, you like to do stuff together, experiences, memories last.
Right.
They last so long, and if you have actual like tangible moments from those memories, that lasts even longer than a lifetime. Even because if you have pictures, those last longer than people. uh you have videos that last longer than people. A memento, just anything like quality time is just, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Words of affirmation, I love being told I'm pretty. I love that. You smart, yes. You loyal, yes. I love it. Love acts of service. I love acts of service. I tend to be very independent. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned that from my mom. Very hyper independent, if you will. Because just like, if you can't do it better than me, move out the way. Move. I'll do it myself. But I love, when somebody could add to it. Like, okay, I can do this myself, but sometimes I don't want to. I
Right.
shouldn't feel like I have to. So it's like, it's always nice to have those acts of service. And finally, gift giving. It's always gonna be last. I always appreciate gifts, but it's like they're not like a thing I'm always gonna look towards. I feel like I have enough.
Right.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I could always get more, but it's like I have enough. I do. And I'm always gonna appreciate it, but I'd appreciate quality time more, physical touch more. Let's, just be in each other's company. We don't even have to talk. We could just be in each other's company, and that goes with friends, significant others. I only ever had one, but and that one significant other, his love language was clearly giving gifts, because anything giving gifts, and I was appreciative, but I would rather spend time or touch you. But
That's awesome.
What about you?
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I love how like y'all already studied this because I googled it, guys, and I'm not in tune with it like that. But you know what I'm saying? I'll start from the bottom actually. I think my least is gift giving, similar to yours. Cause you know what I'm saying, I'm not necessarily one for like the gifts and everything. My birthday was recently actually, and like I don't know what are you gonna do. He saw what's the plan, and you should go celebrate yourself. And, I just I like spending quality time with those that are in my close circle and whatnot, and just having intellectual conversations. So gift giving in the sense that it's not physical. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I love, but these physical things just like it's all right. So I think that's my least, and then I say right above that is physical touch. I'm not like a physical touchy person unless I don't know, intimately involved with you like that. I actually think that's interesting. I want to bring up why men like don't physically touch each other like that. I don't know if it's necessarily because of how we view men to be, or is
Mm-hmm.
that something just in the U.S.? Is it a black thing? I was watching this YouTuber, right? This YouTube channel, Chunks in Philly, and they
Mm.
Mm.
just they hug on each other every time, and it's like they don't necessarily need a reason, but that's just how they express happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And they were reading their comments, and they were like, "Are you guys gay? Are you guys homosexual?" And it's like, "Nah." They was like, "Nah, fam," because they're British, and
Mm.
he was like, "Y'all mad crazy." It's like you were just showing love. So I think that's interesting how love is translated and expressed through the genders. But
Mm-hmm.
even just like what I'm saying, genders being thrown out the equation, I'm just not necessarily a touchy person. But right above that, I'd say maybe quality time, and then perhaps word affirmation, because I don't necessarily need a lot of word affirmation, but it is very important. That's why it is second, and then first, act of service, because
Mm.
I'm one for service. It's very important.
So acts of service, like somebody doing something like for you.
So for this one, it's definitely me doing. That's how I show love. It's like
Oh, okay.
me actually putting time, and this could actually, because I think the love languages are connected. Because even though gift giving was like at my bottom, like acts of service, I can I can take time and take hours and days to create a gift for you.
Right.
So they're interconnected, and but acts of service, but yeah, definitely. I love that's how I show my love and show that I mess with you. So and it's not too bad if someone does acts of service for me too. So
That's good, you know what I'm saying? It's always good, you know what I'm saying, even with the friends and friends or romantic partners, to learn their love languages as well. Cause if you do something that's completely opposite of the love language, it's definitely gonna create not only like confusion, but like
mhm
y'all gonna start bumping heads.
mhm
Cause now you're really this is miscommunication on a different level. Mic drop.
absolutely
Mic drop.
Mm.
absolutely
Um, so yeah, so it's definitely important. You know what I'm saying,
right.
and also important like find out if they have similar love language to you. Yeah. So just just things to really think about. But back to what you said about guys showing love. I think it's not only like a regional thing, but it's definitely like a depend on the culture of your society thing as well.
So let me ask, don't like no matter if it's male or female, don't like people kiss. I don't know if it's on the lips, but like maybe on
On
the
the
forehead.
cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
France.
I
The
mean,
French do that.
my one
And
of my
Hispanics.
dads he kissed me on my forehead every time he see me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mm.
And
saying?
it's not necessarily this sexualized thing. It's like,
Nah, not at
yeah.
all. And so it's like he like now my other dad he's like 6'4", so he's big,
Mm.
200 pounds. He grabbed me, he kissed me on the forehead, he's like I love you. You know what I'm saying? And I felt all warm inside, and I and I
Mm.
keep it pushing.
Yeah.
So but he's from New York. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if it could be a regional. I never been to New York, but I think that could lead me to assume it could be a regional thing. But also it could be a cultural thing. Cause in American society, like a very patriarchal society. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Everybody wants to see as like the dominant man, dominant male figure. So anything that make you seem not that right
Right.
would be disposed of. You know what I'm saying? Or saying like as seen as not masculine. And so now I guess you what do you call it toxic masculinity or hyper masculinization.
Mhm.
When anything that you do is outside of that context, we're gonna question you, right,
Mhm.
and question your values. So it's also that. But I don't know. I kiss. You know what I'm saying. My family. You know what I'm saying. Like my like on the cheeks and things like that. I don't think there's no pressure with it. And like me personally, I love forehead kisses. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just to show you like, especially like to show you like one, I really do care for you because I feel like that's a non-sexual kiss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. So I don't know. I feel like it just depends on the culture that you're in and the region where you're at. If that makes sense.
Most definitely. Deja, how do you feel that is translated into the woman and femme?
I think, because I don't know, because growing up, I did not have a lot of, well, I didn't have a lot of friends, period. But towards high school, I had female friends, but we wouldn't be affectionate toward. It was more like a gossipy type thing. So we only see each other to talk about other people.
Mm.
Those type of friendships dissipate fast. But mostly, I always had guy friendships. So of course, hugs, side hugs. You dab them up,
Absolutely.
fist bumps type stuff. Did you try to do gang signs?
Or were
But
you doing like the black handshake? You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
oh, okay. I thought he was
Yeah.
doing Naruto.
Nah.
But yeah. So with, but I don't mind hugs. And coincidence, for some reason, I always get friends who do not like to be physical, whether it be like male or female. Me, I don't mind hugs. I see Jeremiah, we hugging, hugs, yeah. You know, because it's nothing behind it, but that's just we friends. That's my brother right there.
Right.
So like I hug my brothers. I hug them. Before I left Miami, hug them goodbye. Like so. When it comes to friends, I just got unlucky with that one because I'd hug in a minute.
hmm
I'd I randomly tickled a friend who was afraid to get tickled. And I was like, oh my bad, just just cause
A fear of getting
a
tickled?
fear of getting tickled.
I
I
mean,
randomly tickled. I was like, sure, her feet were out, and I was like, it's time to pounce, and I was like, tickle, 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 and she laughed because it was so random, and I was like, wait, I'm sorry, I forgot. You're scared of getting
Yeah.
tickled,
I understand.
right? But yeah, but also with the to chime in on the male thing though, because what I've noticed is that like they're more physical when they're around women. I think they showed like the less of the hyper masculine
Mm-hmm.
effects, which is like the physical when they're around like either like a mother figure or like a significant other figure or just a female figure that they feel comfortable to not be so manly with. And I was reading this book called Gender because I have a men, women, and social change class,
Mm-hmm.
and so it says that men are socialized to be emotionless. The empathy is literally like unlearned as they go through the life course.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they're in high school, they're learning to be these emotionless beings that instead of putting themselves into loving situations or being loving, they are going to seek out dangerous circumstances. They're going to seek out fights. They're going to take more risks
Because that validates their manlyhood.
because it validates their manlyhood. You think of the media they're supposed to consume. It's supposed to be violent. You see male protagonists. Every time you see a male protagonist, they love to fight. They want to get into the ring. They're the strongest. They're the
Mm-hmm.
most fearless. And because they're fearless, they're gonna seek out a thrill. And
Mm-hmm.
that comes through the risk of their health, their well-being, and violence of which they could possibly lose. But of course, since it's written by men who want to win, they're gonna always win. Even if they lose first, they're gonna end up coming out on top. Goku. Yeah.
But
But I find that interesting.
that's really part of saying European society and European reality.
Mhm.
As far as especially like the aggressiveness part.
Yeah.
'Cause you look in traditional African societies. You look at their bone structures, right? Because as far as like violence and having wars, your bone structure would be completely different. You know what I'm saying? Because you're hitting stuff and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
you look at traditional African societies, look at their bone structures, you could tell they haven't been through wars like that. And of course that's that. Of course that's not like a complete view of African people. But it's just an example of how we're truly peaceful and xenophobic. No,
Xenophilia.
xenophilia.
Yeah.
Got to delete that one. But
Oh no, go
No,
ahead,
no,
cause
no,
I'm confused. Go ahead and explain the difference.
so xenophobic is basically you despise outsiders, you despise foreigners. Xenophilia is when you're welcoming to outsiders, welcoming foreigners.
Oh, black people are xenophilia.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
you.
yeah. Black people with xenophilia, everybody's invited to the cookout. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But you look at white people in the U.S. Oh, don't have no immigrants over here.
Yeah, build the wall.
You know what I'm saying? So that's an example how European people are xenophobic. But that's also, and what I'm saying, European society is also very paternalistic. You know what I'm saying? Simply because if you look at Cheikh Diop, which is one of the greatest African scholars to ever exist, multi genius. He basically examined the two different cradles of society that Europeans and Africans develop in, right?
Mhm.
Europeans develop in the northern cradle, you know what I'm saying, in the Caucasus Mountains and shit like that. And because of that, right, that basically affected their behaviors,
Mhm.
right? So you're in the northern cradle, you're in the Caucasus Mountains. You have to scavenge for food, you know what I'm saying? So it's being very nomadic, right? And a part of that is the role of men. You know what I'm saying? Men basically had to do everything, in a sense. So, because they had to go find the food and shit like that within the Caucasus Mountains. So because the role of men escalated within their society, they Europeans therefore devalued women. You know what I'm saying? The role of women became less right within that society, and so that's where we see the origins of the patriarchal structure. However, in traditional African societies, what I'm saying, we're more agricultural, we're more sedentary because we live near the equator. You know what I'm saying? So we can farm and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
And so we look at the role of women within our society. We used to hunter gatherer society, and so they used to go get the food, right? And so the 70% of our food, actually came from our woman, right? And so therefore, in our cosmology, we see the woman being the center of our community and the center, center of our lives, right? That's why, traditional African societies are matriarchal, right? That's why it was referred to Mother Africa as Mother Africa, the motherland, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even look at traditional African spiritualities, there's always a feminine principle, and so, the whole aggressiveness, you know what I'm saying? I gotta beat you, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All that comes from that paternalistic view that Europeans have.
And I like to add, we're literally inside our mother's room for 9 months. So
Right.
yeah, just violence against women and everything is just like it's crazy. Yeah.
Mm.
I like to add something. I'm taking notes. But balance, you know what I'm saying? Balance when we're expressing love
Hmm.
is very important. So I like to talk about the example of whoopings. I don't know if like y'all
Mm.
parents whoop y'all, but there's also the generational trauma that is attached to that because of the whipping as a slave. But there's and this is why I wanted to ask y'all what love is too, because you know my parents they discipline me in a certain way out of love,
Right.
you know. Uh, but also some parents they can express this because they David Banner said this. He said some people don't want to they don't want to help others be free. They just want a chance to hold the whip.
Right.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we have to do this out of love, and that's basically, I mean, that's definitely not holding the whip. That's helping your brother. That's helping your sister. That's helping your sibling up. You see what I'm saying? At a place of higher understanding. So balance is key, and it's very Afro what
What? African Center?
yes.
Indeed.
The imbalance that we see is is what am I trying to say? It has I think
Unnatural, Eurocentric.
yes, yeah, what
Mm.
you were saying before, yeah,
Hmm.
I think a lot of that also deals with the imbalance just of love.
Indeed. It's interesting you bring up weapons, because one of my mentors said, he said when they was doing research on weapons and to see if it caused people to be violent, he said then they couldn't build a correlation.
Mm.
Right, right. That's what he said. So I'm just curious. I think it just depends on the context of the family and the culture they're in. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Because I got whooped. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. I I I have
Yeah.
always been me.
Yeah.
But part of whoopings is also, I think, talking to the child and letting them know what they did wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's not more so of like whooping is understanding that there's consequences for your actions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And but it's just about how you communicate that to the child. In my opinion, and I think at the end of the day, you understand your mama still love you. You just had to get that whooping though, cause you fucked up.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. I don't know how we doing time, but I want to bring up another topic.
you good?
We're in college, you know what I'm saying? We're pursuing, you know what I'm saying, our majors and whatnot because we want to do this to for our careers and maybe for the rest of our lives. But it's so important that you love what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
me, I'll start off because I want to know if y'all love what y'all do. I already know the answer for this guy right here, but you see what I'm saying? Me personally, I hated my major. I hated agribusiness because coming into college out of high school, I just knew I wanted to help the world,
Mhm.
and I had to specify that, of course. So basically, I chose agriculture because that's a part of the environment, and business that was uh, what my father led me to do because he wanted me to be financially stable, and I greatly appreciate him for that.
Mhm.
Because as a community and doing economic empowerment or whatnot, we have to be financially stable.
Right.
But going into college, man, the last 3 semesters, oh my goodness, just very lost. Just like, and COVID definitely affected that, just the disconnect and everything. But I was coming at it from a naive perspective because again of the imperialistic and colonization just of agriculture and business because business is meant to be trade and on both sides uh, it's supposed to be this you know what I'm saying? You give me something and I give you something, so we reciprocate that energy. But with capitalism, there's just a lot of profit, and that's the main goal, and not much giving. But real trade is a there has to be equity and ethics in your trade. So in terms of well, let me tell y'all why I got really passionate. I met this professor called Dr. Johnson. And Dr. Johnson, he's like 60, 70 years old, but he's still sharp as a tack. And, just a very, very smart individual. And not like other professors, not knocking them, but he doesn't teach from a PowerPoint. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't necessarily need notes, and he's just a very very sharp dude. Um, but he inspired me because he just pushed me out of my comfort zone to pursue what I wanted to do in the first place, because I was losing sight of that. I thought business was just you know what I'm saying, this thing that I'd never really wanted to do, but he brought it back to my community. He brought it back to something I love. I think my mother, um, so I just had a conversation with her like last week, and you know, there's a physical plane of existence, but there's also a spiritual plane of existence. So with your major, I force you guys to look at, you know what I'm saying, what does this translate into spiritually, not just physically.
Right.
So I definitely am loving what I do. Uh, it's agribusiness, just to be clear, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
No, that's real though. That's real.
Mhm.
So it's becoming more fulfilling now.
definitely, definitely. Mhm.
What about you, Deja?
So I I'd always been interested in becoming a lawyer. That was like something since elementary school type days. Um, I'm very interested in criminal justice. I found out about sociology once I got here, and since my school requires you to have a major anyway, I mean a minor anyways, sociology, it seemed like a no-brainer. I like learning about society, why, the whys that we act or groups of people act, and the various ways of which things form socially.
Mhm.
Like psychology is also interesting, but I don't care about the brain and the different lobes and the different areas of the tongue. I like the mental disorders, not gonna lie. But but sociology, it's hard to find something that's not interesting. Like the concept of deviance. I'm in criminal justice, so deviance, a part of deviance is crime, because when deviance is when you deviate from a norm.
Right.
Norms could be relaxed, like mores are just moral norms, so it's like it's not moral to do this, but I don't care if you didn't do it. Like lying in some cases.
Mhm.
Folkways is like, okay, you did something, there's a bit of a pushback, and then there's laws, which is like a formal codified written into law. So that's what criminal justice deals with. So when you talk about like deviance and how, like, in a way we're deviant, because we're not fulfilling the norm of our society in which we exist in. Like, all three of us, we African.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
a norm because our normal society is European.
Mhm.
I'm a woman. I'm deviation. Granted, even though there's more women than men in the United States, in terms of what is deemed acceptable or the normal or the default unmarked category of person in America is the man. You know, um, and so like we deviate in different ways just by existing and in what we do. And I just find everything about sociology and criminal justice interesting. But what I don't like though is, one, you find a lot of people in specifically the criminal justice major that get into it because simply because of they want authority. And that is so scary, especially when you go to an HBCU, because it's like they're foaming at the mouth to throw people in jail who look like us, who
Right.
they want to uphold respectability politics. And that's so dangerous because respectability politics is what we argue of whether or not an unarmed black male, an unarmed black woman, probably doing nothing, most likely doing nothing, deserve to die at the hands of law
You
enforcement.
think that's partially because we've been deprived of, you know what I'm saying, power just for so long?
I think so. Again, you want to hold the whip.
Right.
A lot of like a lot of people do not want liberation, but they want to enjoy the privileges other people have above them. No,
Right.
they don't care about people being oppressed as long as it's not them.
Mhm.
And you get to really see that in real time, especially with this major and with political science majors.
Yeah.
And I think it's scary because these people, we're the future. And so when we go into these fields that affect real lives and we think we're playing a game because we want to have some power over people, that's so scary. And that's very, because think about it. How many times people have interaction with the police just because broken tail light, Sandra Bland got killed. You feel me? Like certain petty things. Dante Wright, he died over an air freshener. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, he had a warrant, but that means he gets arrested, not killed.
Mhm.
So it's like certain things. So you see real life implications, and then you see people who follow these ideologies that lead up to like such ramifications. It's actually very scary when you think about it. But when you think about it long enough, it's
Mm-hmm.
real scary. And then when you think about like the professors, we do I love a lot of my professors. Most of my professors, they're very uplifting. They love what I do in terms of like writing because it's social sciences. So you write, you take tests, you converse in class. So like I have really uplifting professors, but since we're a social sciences class, you get worn down and bogged down by the amount of, not the amount of writing, but like what you're writing. It's like you don't feel connected to your writing at all. Like I don't think I have actually put 100% in papers since like elementary school, and I've been writing research papers since ninth grade. I haven't done my full. I'm not feeling challenged. I'm not. I'm just pushing out writing, pushing out writing, pushing out writing, and getting A's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel connected to this. I'm tired. I have a lit review due on Tuesday. It's like I don't care. I'm just pushing out writing because I want to get this degree. Actually, do what I want to do. I want to get into the field. I want to, like okay, okay, like be a prosecutor and be like, okay, I'm this case, I'm not doing it, or this case, plea, whatever, whatever. Um, and not be one of those who wants to just lock anybody and everybody up to look good. But a lot of people want to do that. A lot of people want to do that regardless of people's situations. Like I had one time in class, it was a scenario. It was like, okay, this woman stole baby formula. It was a scenario, so it wasn't real, but it can be. Because think about it, baby formula is actually real expensive. I was in Walmart the other day. It's expensive. So a woman stole baby formula, and so instead of going to prison, she got on probation. But since the probation officer went to her house for a wellness check and found a person with a criminal background in there, she can revoke probation and send her to prison despite having children. And people in the class chose to revoke the probation instead of taking other measures of which to help the woman, because clearly she couldn't afford the baby formula, or else why would you steal it? It's just certain things like that. It's like people don't care about the human. Even if it's just a fake scenario, these scenarios can and will happen in real life. That's why they're practiced in school. That's why we're given them. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's very scary to see how really people are so happy to punish the poor or punish people that look like us, and that's real weird, and it's giving like it's giving divide and conquer. Black
Mm-hmm.
elitism, black exceptionalism. Like we must, like some of us, since we got up here, we deserve to be up here. Whatever happened to you, whatever you're doing, you deserve whatever happens, even if it's something that's like it's overkill.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I love what I do. I'm just scared for other people. I'm scared for the people that'll interact with other people within my majors. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And also you gotta understand, again, this is a white supremacist society, and every structure, therefore, is goes to perpetuate, you know what I'm saying, the society, even education. So when these people are going through these classes, well, not just these classes, because it's like, the final form. When people go through the K through 12 education system, right, they
Right.
have been trained and educated to think this way,
Right.
to view other people like that. And that's why I love psychology, because this is alien self disorder. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
In a sense, alien self is when you are basically disconnected from your cultural roots, and therefore, I would say not despise, but definitely, you don't understand where your culture and where you come from in a sense, and you are definitely disconnected. But that's what education does. It literally rips us from our roots, and therefore we don't recognize that we're actually hurting another person. Because in the African concept of Ubuntu, I am because we are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Therefore interconnected. There's no I. There's only we, right? But what I'm saying, if you're not within the African mindset, what I'm saying, and you in the European mindset, only understanding individualism, right? Now, now basically you committed an insanity act, right? As far as like if you destroying somebody, if you killing somebody, you don't only committing a homicide, but you committing suicide, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand this because they've been disconnected from the African culture.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just you know I won't say it's not their fault per se, but this is the whole purpose of the educational society,
Mhm.
or not educational society, but educational system is to keep the white supremacist system going, right?
Mhm.
And so they doing exactly what they was taught, Deja.
Mhm.
You're the deviant one. You know what I'm
I know.
saying? You the rebel. You the people that need to watch out for. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Absolutely.
the criminal. It's you. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm.
you're the person who's about to change society. You're the person who's about to change the system. And girl, you know what I'm saying? You better watch your back. You better watch your back.
Mm.
And so um, for me personally, you guys know I love my major. I love what I do. I'm essentially and and I've been very blessed in the sense that when I first came to FAMU, my first class was Intro African American Studies. My first teacher was Professor Tyrus or Baba Smith Tyrus for anybody within the community. Um, and he taught me he taught me I don't say everything I need to know, but he gave me a great foundation. You know what I'm saying? First time coming to the class, he was like, "Hotel."
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? And for people who don't know, hotel is not like a negative connotation. It means come in peace.
It's a sacred word.
You see what I'm saying? It's like saying what's up in the Kemetic language, right? And so when I'm first coming to class, you know what I'm saying? I'm learning a different word from an ancient language. You see what I'm saying? So he just breathed life into me, and he gave me for him, you know what I'm saying? He's I won't say an historian, but he understands the value of history, right? And so when I became his mentee, he said, "Jeremy, you need to read this book, that book." And as I'm reading the book, I'm like, "Damn, this shit is dope." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is crazy. Like our ancestors really did this. Like they built this. They understood this. So even in our fall, right? In the instruction of black civilization, we see how we fell. It was like I understand it, um, but I don't know. History just provides so much love for yourself. And that's why I really just keep on reading. you
Hmm.
know, just understanding like again, even though I talk about the time like the idea of pyramids and idea of pyramids, metal nature, which is what Greek call hieroglyphs. You know what I'm saying, and just like understanding that our ancestors brought into being like the principles of the universe in a sense like they found it and wrote it down, right? And I'm seeing it and I'm living it. That is something. You know what I'm saying? Like they did this. You know what I'm saying? Thousands and thousands of years ago, and then I'm experiencing it. You know what I'm saying? Right here and right now. That
Hmm.
just show you how great they were. And I remember in Destruction of Black Civilization, it was a people. I think in Ethiopia they were called the sun children, right? It used to be looked down upon if you try to change your dark skin.
Mm.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Cause your dark skin was a symbol. You know what I'm saying
Hmm.
of being blessed by the sun.
Y'all heard that? Y'all better stop lightning y'all skin. And
Hey.
show some black love. Love your black self. You feel me?
You see what I'm saying? So it's like bruh, like what it was, and now think about what that does to a kid who was called African booty scratcher.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? Or like especially like me, cause I always had dark skin, I always had big nose, I always had African features. So like reading the books is like now I know like that wasn't meant to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it does provide a basis for self love. And then I've been blessed to come to FAMU first of all, and a part of that FAMU first of all, shout out to FAMU,
Mhm.
Hmm.
essentially because FAMU I think Prairie View A&M is the second college, but for a long time FAMU was the only school, not HBCU, but the only school to have an African centered psychology program. So you know what I'm saying, only school within the nation.
Hallelujah.
You know what I'm saying? Not just HBCUs, but all colleges, universities within the nation to have an African Center program. And a part of that, you know what I'm saying, I was able to be under Baba Sims or Baba Jomo, you know what I'm saying, Professor Brian Sims. And he in himself is a genius, you know. So Deja, I took him during Zoom, and she was able to sit in and look at some classes with me, and like she could tell you, you know what I'm saying, on her own court that man is a genius.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's seen the Matrix, then he's my Morpheus. Because history is foundational for any major that you do. But psychology black psychology, African psychology takes it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Because not only history, but now we learn philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Like I took intro to psych, I hated it too, Deja. I'm not gonna lie to you. I took intro to psych the same year I was taking all my history classes, and I just hated it because we was learning about all these European people.
Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, we learned about Freud,
Jean Piaget.
Skinner, and all these guys.
Man, I took an introduction to philosophy class, bro.
What you learn about?
White folk. White folk.
Yes, and then that's another thing. Like I was finally learning about my culture. You know what I'm saying? I finally learned African culture. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I was trying to tell my mentee, I was like, people could tell you lies, right? But one thing that's gonna hit the spirit is the truth about Africanity, and that's what African psychology did for me. So that's why I love it. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I love it because I live it. I see it every day. You know what I'm saying? I can help other people as well. And so it comes to a point where like I don't study for tests no more. You know what I'm saying? I I'll read. I'll take notes.
I can't relate.
Nah, I
Cannot
didn't
relate.
study for one this morning. Got a 7 out
man,
of 10.
my educational psych with Dr. Bell. I got 96. And
Mm.
people was asking me, it was like, what did you do to study? I said,
Mhm.
so my bad. That was Vashawn calling.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so all in all, like I love what I do, and I'm happy to be here. If I was at FAMU, I don't. If I wasn't at FAMU, I don't know if I would have made it in college.
Mm.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real.
Because again, your Africanity, you know what I'm saying? It can also deny what's anti-African as well. So it's like I don't know if I would have, you know what I'm saying, fuck with it. But yeah, man.
Mm.
Any other thoughts or questions you want to point out?
Man, I just want to say again, the first theme for this podcast is love, because it's just so important, and it could be translated into many different dimensions in all of our lives in our community. So, as we are at a HBCU and it is Black History Month, we put some black love not only today, not only this month, not only this year, but every single day throughout all of our
Mm-hmm.
lives.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Be your black self. You know what I'm saying? Undiluted, unapologetically. So, yeah, that's what I have to say. You know.
Cool, cool. I think last thing I gotta say is also relationships.
Mm.
Relationships are
That's a can of worms.
it is kind of worms, but it's beautiful though. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful and to experience real love. And people are like, I don't know if I experience love. Trust me, when you know what I'm saying. First of all, you experience love from your family. You know what I'm saying? From your mother. You know what I'm saying? From your parents. Even if they're not around within your particular lifetime, you gotta understand that you was in your mother's belly for 9 months. You know what I'm saying? And so they had a conscious decision to choose you, and in that act, there's some form of love. So right then and there, because I'm not gonna put my dad business out there, but
Mm.
you know what I'm saying. Some of us ain't make it. If you get what I'm saying, right? But I did. You know what I'm saying. So in that, there is some form of love in that. But people who get in relationships, I promise you, you know what I'm saying. If you don't know if you felt love, you gonna get, you gonna feel it. You gonna know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying. And I'm early on in my relationship right now, so I ain't gonna jinx nothing. But it's like it feels damn good.
Yes, sir.
It feels damn good. You know what I'm saying. And trust me, like a part of love. Well, for my opinion, part of being in a relationship love, like there's a certain type of intensity. And it's not like, this type of intensity is not a negative thing. You know what I'm saying? It feels like, you could be like at a dinner in a room full of people and only feel like you two are the only people there.
Mm.
You know, that type of intensity, you know what I'm saying? Now you might get complaints because y'all laughing too loud, but shit, you know what I'm saying? That's what, hey, fuck it.
Right.
So, and also like, just understanding who somebody really is and choosing them regardless. You know, that's some real shit. Cause I know I'm not perfect. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But she chose me anyway. So that's some real shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, any thoughts, Deja?
Mm. Just love as a whole.
Yeah. It's
That's
no pressure.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like because what you're talking about relation, I feel like I'm so full of like self love right now. Like in the point of my life, we're full of self love. Like
Mhm.
I don't leave my house no more. If I'm not at work and if I'm not at school, I'm home by myself. I don't care. I enjoy my company too much. And so when it comes to relationships, it's like it's not something, you know, and it's not a thought for me.
Mhm.
A lot of people like to like, oh my god, I want one. I want relationships. I think about relationships. Like I see you and your girlfriend. It's like, oh my god, cute. At the flea market today, we saw a couple with matching SpongeBob hoodies,
Yeah.
and I'm
Oh
like,
man.
when I get a boyfriend, yeah, I'm stealing your. I even told him I'm stealing your idea. Sorry, I want matching SpongeBob hoodies, just walking around holding hands.
Right.
Oh, what? Yes,
Right.
that's cute. It's simple, but it's cute. I like. I'm very creative with romantic, lovey-dovey things. But I'm not gonna just settle just to do them.
Right.
I
Right.
can I love myself. I can go out to eat, take myself on a date. Make myself look good just to be by myself. You know, and so I feel like that was an important thing. And also, it's like a lot of people out here are just friggin' grimy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm a little bit slut of myself, but I've attempted to slut, and I realized I'm better off alone. Not even a relationship. It's not even just a relationship thing to be a slut. Like even just relations and touching other men. The way I'd rather be by myself a lot of the time. So it's like I think in terms of love, it's like self love. Like once you pour into yourself and you can pour into others, and you can be selective on where you pour into
Yeah.
because you know that what you have in your cup is not worth putting into every single cup because
Yeah.
some of them cups got holes and need to continuously be filled because they're going to continue leaking out.
Right.
But I think that's all I got.
Man, you said something really big. You know what I'm saying? As far as like self love, because one thing is like you can never pick the right partner, or you will never pick the right partner if you don't love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to love yourself and know yourself to know what you really want.
Right.
Right. So like I remember when I broke up with my ex. You know what I'm saying? Like, I fucked up that relationship,
Oh,
And that's okay, you know
you
what I'm
live and
saying?
you learn.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn through the experiences. But part of that I was also growing, you know what I'm saying? I was becoming, I was transforming. So it's like for a long time I really had to see as I was transforming myself. That's time, during that break I got to really know myself, you know what I'm saying? Really know what I want. And went that transformation and I was like, okay, Jeremiah, these are the exact things that you need, you know what I'm saying, within a woman, you know what I'm saying, in order to have a healthy relationship. But I had to know myself, I had to love myself, and and therefore that allowed me to manifest what I really needed from myself. And that shit worked.
It showed you manifested all set.
Yeah.
I was scared it wasn't gonna work. I'm not gonna lie. I was so scared. I was frightened, shaking in my boots. I was like,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Talk about, you know what I'm saying? I ain't say I love you yet, but you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Offset though, you know what I'm saying? On the podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to her.
So cool, you know what I'm saying? Is that anything else, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, you know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna wrap it up. First and foremost, well, I thank everybody for listening. Especially to this to the first one. Now Ubuntu's growing. Right? Ubuntu's growing. And this is one of the avenues that we're trying to grow in. So eventually we're going to continue to expand, and talk about different topics. So first and foremost, if you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, you know what I'm saying, things that you're interested in, feel free, you know what I'm saying, shout out to the Ubuntu Gmail. Let me actually pull that up so you guys can text the Gmail. 1 second. So it's called ub.bun.tu7@gmail.com. So if y'all have any questions, you know, saying comments or concerns, send them to our Gmail. Email us, and we're gonna look at it. Hmm? Oh yeah, we also on Instagram as well. ub.bun.tu, right, on Instagram, right. So you can also DM us if you want to talk about topics as well. And of course, it's not going to just be us three. Ubuntu got 30 plus members now, supposedly. You know what I'm saying? Supposedly. So, right, therefore you're gonna hear a diverse array of people on here. People with different backgrounds, people with different orientations. So please stay tuned. And We're gonna, we're gonna do a little goodbye. Anybody have like goodbye phrase you want to say put in?
Oh.
Dang, on the spot.
Be safe, stay dangerous.
Right.
Absolutely.
Be safe and stay dangerous.